Hey guys, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, book one. This is written and drawn by Yanushi, I think is how you say that name, and it's published by Square Enix, as you guys can see right there. And this is quite a nice book. It's $13. It's very thick. It feels very high quality. It's very nice. The printing is quite good. Compared to Hero Tengen War, this is a phenomenal bang for your buck for $13. And it's also quite good compared to most other Square Enix manga because usually they're quite thin for, you know, the books that are this size, right? But that's not really all that important, I guess. Although I feel like it's pretty important, but you know, most people really just care about the story stuff, right? So yeah, the graphic for this story is seinen. I can't remember what magazine it publishes in. It might be a digital title. I can't remember. And the genres are rom-com and slice of life. And predominantly slice of life. Like the romantic comedy aspect comes in, but it's not quite that important. It's mostly about the slice of life moments between these two characters, right? And it's also kind of a framing device for what this is trying to explore, right? So yeah, it does not have an adaptation. I don't think that it will get one, but it might. I'm not really sure. And the premise of this book is pretty simple. There's this 40-year-old man. He's a salary guy. He is rather stressed and hates his work because he has bad bosses. He's satisfied with his life and what he's doing, but he just wishes he had more time for himself, right? And in order to kind of deal with these stresses, he goes to a little corner store, like a combini or whatever they're called, to kind of buy stuff to just kind of, you know, eat, right, and relax. However, he ends up developing this parasocial relationship with the cashier, who has this vibrant, youthful, happy energy about her that really makes him happy because he basically vicariously lives through her in the sense that if she's that happy, I feel happy, which is a really weird concept. But it never actually gets creepy, so it's fine. Like, I don't love the idea of like a rom-com based around a parasocial relationship, but at the same time, I feel like it is very understandable that something would like that would happen, especially nowadays, where that might be an interest that you want to follow in a fantasy story or like in a fiction story, to kind of get through these feelings that so many people have, you know, to them, right? And so I understand the idea, and I actually think that it was executed quite well, but it's not necessarily my favorite that there's this like rom-com that starts based on this parasocial relationship, right? So he admires this young lady that is the cashier. She's in her 20s, so it's not weird or anything. I mean, it's a little bit weird because he's 40, but it's broadly like fine, right? Like, she's older than 18, who cares, right? He kind of wants to smoke one day and ends up smoking behind the supermarket where he kind of goes, right? The little combini that he goes to, right? And there he meets this woman right here who's a fellow worker at the store. And she kind of asks him, what the hell is wrong with you? Why do you care so much about this cashier, or why are you so interested in her? And he tells her honestly, you know, I'm a sad, depressed dude, and she's so happy, and it makes me happy to see her happy, and so I come by quite often, right? And she's like, okay, I get it. You're respecting her, you're admiring her. There's not really anything wrong with you, so I'll allow it. And then she becomes friends with him through teasing him and sharing cigarettes with him, and they start developing a friendship and this kind of great closeness with each other. However, it turns out that this young lady here is the same person that he has this parasocial relationship with, but because they, present themselves so differently, he can't tell that they're the same person. And so there's this rom-com element here, this like hidden element here that is quite enjoyable, right? And then there's a third character who's the lady that owns the supermarket, who is about the same age as this guy, and she kind of cheers for them. She's interested in the way that their relationship is forming, and you kind of get this third character to start commenting on what they're doing and kind of how ridiculous it is, but also kind of how cute it is, right? And so broadly speaking, the concept is good, the execution is good, and my favorite part is actually the kind of calm feeling that I get reading this. It's quite nice to read something that doesn't really have high stakes, that doesn't really try to do anything quite serious. It's mostly just exploring two different characters from different walks of life, but with a very similar kind of feeling towards their reality, right? They're both kind of tired, and they both kind of have this like sadness to them, but it's kind of different, and it doesn't really hinder their lives. They just kind of needed someone to kind of interact with and commiserate with, and now that they have found that person, their lives are going to kind of getting better, right? And also, it's quite nice to kind of develop this like relationship between these two characters in this very kind of calm setting, because it helps kind of frame what they talk about, which is kind of asinine things, not that important things, into a much more meaningful kind of framing. And sometimes that makes it so that some of the stuff that they talk about is quite impactful or nice, or kind of like gets you, and you kind of think about it as well, right? And I don't really have a specific example because I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but it's quite relaxing to read, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say this is like a healing manga. It's not really that kind of deep, but there is a certain level of like relaxation and stress relief that comes from reading something like this, because you can kind of really understand where these characters are coming from, right? And so it's honestly not even a rom-com or a slice of life, even though it has those elements. It's more just like a quotidian life kind of thing, right? Like it's very just kind of normal, and it's exploring these random conversations that these characters have as a way to kind of just like help people that have these same situations also kind of go through it. And I like it. I think it's good. Am I reaching? Yeah, probably, but that's how it makes me feel. So, it works. Not that I have like lives similar to these characters. I'm not Japanese. I don't work at a supermarket or at a salary like man job. I'm a student, right? But that doesn't really change the fact that they have pretty understandable and very broad reaching kind of concepts to them, right? Like they kind of hate their job or they kind of like their job, but they kind of have a difficult time setting into their environment because of just how weird it is sometimes, right? So yeah, and then the last chapter here actually kind of is like a background story, or one of these last chapters here is kind of this background story that helps us kind of learn that these two characters actually have a bit of a history together that it seems like neither of them really understand or kind of don't remember, that will kind of help us tie these characters into something a little bit more serious in terms of like their relationship, right? So overall, I like this quite a lot. I thought it was really enjoyable. If you're looking for something kind of exciting and like bombastic out of your rom-coms and slice of life, that's not really what this is for. This is pretty chill and relaxed, right? It's kind of like Shikamori's not just a cutie or something like that. It's very like vignette style, right? Like it's not even 4 coma, but it's not really like exciting like Kaguya-sama or like My Dress Up Darling or anything like that. It's quite slow and relaxed, right? So yeah, if you like that, go for it. If you don't get it. It's pretty simple. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.